The minds behind Stranger Things have really done their homework when it comes to 80s pop culture. Season 3 is just as crammed full of 80s references and homages as its predecessors. From Die Hard to the Terminator to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, here are the coolest 80s references in Season 3, along with a visual breakdown of how the show compares to the originals. Season 3 pays tribute to the most iconic Arnold Schwarzenegger character of them all in the form of the Russian enforcer Grigory, an unstoppable enemy who specializes in giving Hopper and friends a major beatdown. Mayor Klein even refers to Grigory as Arnold Schwarzenegger in Episode 5.
Who is he?
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We also can't help but be reminded of Anton Chigurh, the villain of No Country for Old Men. Not only does Grigory dress a lot like Chigurh, he has a similar habit of interrogating and killing gas station employees. No Country for Old Men may have been released in 2007, but it's set in the 80s, so that's close enough for us. Of the mini comic book references in Season 3, our favorite comes from the first episode. Dustin names his giant homemade radio antenna Cerebro, after the device in the X-Men comics that allows Professor Xavier to amplify his telepathic abilities. Episode 4 delivers a fun nod to 1988's Die Hard. The shots of Steve and Dustin attempting to climb into the air ducts are almost exact recreations of the Die Hard shot where John McClane crawls through the ducts of Nakatomi Plaza. But unlike McClane, our heroes need the help of someone smaller and more maneuverable. That air duct scene also brings to mind 1986's Aliens, where the android Bishop was called upon to squeeze his way through a pipe too small for ordinary humans. Plus, Erica must be a synthetic android with as much ice cream as she gobbles up in Season 3.
No fish, please.
It's hard to watch the terrifying hospital sequence in Episode 5 and not be reminded of John Carpenter's The Thing. In particular, the scene where the liquefied bodies merge together to form a screaming monster is right out of the scene where MacReady and the gang confront the Kennel Thing. If you ever feel nostalgic for all the sugary licensed breakfast cereals from the 80s, the grocery store sequence in Episode 7 will have you feeling like a kid again. One aisle has cereals for everything from Ghostbusters to Mr. T to Donkey Kong. Jurassic Park may be a bit too young to qualify as an 80s movie, but that doesn't mean we weren't thrilled to see the season finale pay homage to multiple scenes from that classic Spielberg flick. The moment where the kids hide from the mind flayer is very similar to the Jurassic Park scene where Lex and Tim hide from the raptors in the kitchen. Meanwhile, the scene where Steve and Robin are awestruck by their first sight of the Mind Flayer plays like a slightly darker version of Jurassic Park's most iconic dino shot. There's a brief moment where Season 3 transforms the show into a full-on musical, and we love it. The season finale has Dustin and Susie delivering a surprisingly competent rendition of the theme song to 1984's The Neverending Story. Season 3 is crammed full of references to 1982's Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but two homages stand out above the rest. Aside from Dustin comparing his girlfriend to Fast Times actress Phoebe Cates,
Girlfriend? Think Phoebe Cates, only hotter.
The season premiere gives us a gender-flipped riff on the iconic Cates pool scene when Billy struts by in slow motion to the tune of the Cars moving in stereo. Then the finale gives Fast Times a direct shout-out when Steve accidentally knocks over a standee of Cates in the video store.
Oh, Fast Times. Fast Times. Ever heard of it? Top 3 for me, Kate.
It's impossible not to be reminded of the third Indiana Jones movie during the scene in Episode 6 where Steve and Robin are tied to a chair. Indy and his dad faced a very similar predicament during their quest for the Holy Grail and ran into a similar spate of bad luck when trying to escape. We also get strong Indiana Jones vibes from the final battle between Hopper and Grigory in the finale. This mismatched pairing is very reminiscent of Indy taking on the much stronger German mechanic from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Grigory and the mechanic even meet similarly grisly ends. Meanwhile, Hopper having his head held near the dangerous Russian machine is similar to the fight where Indy's face is almost shredded by tank treads in The Last Crusade. Basically, Hopper has the fighting style of Indiana Jones and the fashion sense of Magnum P.I. Hopper is compared to another iconic 80s hero in Episode 6 where the Russians jokingly refer to him as Fat Rambo. Season 3 is set in 1985, shortly after the release of Rambo First Blood Part 2, and the character's transformation from shell-shocked vet to muscle-bound action hero, yeah, we can't argue. Hopper's still rocking the dad bod. Did we miss any crucial 80s references? Let us know in the comments below, and for more on Stranger Things Season 3, check out our review of the new season and our theories about one major character's true fate. And as always, subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.